I am Dana Marsden, and I am serving middle schools this year as an instructional tech coach. And co-presenting with me today is Mara Vlasic, and she is the tech coach for Linwood High School and Mount Lake Terrace High School. So if you have attended these PD courses before and you've already signed in, then you don't need to worry about the PD portal code, but you do need to register for this session on the bit.ly so that we can add you in for the clock hour you can earn for today. And then also below is the slideshow for this presentation if you'd like to follow along that way, or just like to have your own copy, because a lot of the things we'll be going over today. We are recording. Are we recording? Yes, we are. We are recording this, and so we will post this as a live session. But then the PowerPoints also have a lot of information, kind of more of a step-by-step instruction about what we're going over. So feel free to ask questions. You can also post those in the chat, and Mara or I will be watching that for questions as we go along. Okay, here we go. So, oops, am I not? Oh, there we go. So we want to begin with a tribal land acknowledgement that the Edmonds School District is on traditional homelands of the Duwamish, Skokomish, Snohomish, Snoqualmie, and Suquamish and other coast tribes. And that this is part of the Treaty of 1855 that we are have the right to use the land that is theirs. So our agenda today is we're going to review what the Canvas gradebook is. We're going to go over what Speedgrader is, what it looks like, what you can do through Speedgrader. We're also going to talk about how to set up Canvas and Skyward so that they talk to each other and what that means for you and for students. And then hopefully we'll have we will have some time for open questions. So just wanted to make sure that you know we are recording this session, and we'll post it to our learning page. Post questions in the chat, and we'll be watching that. If you're not speaking, mute your mic. Your video camera is optional. It's nice to see who's here, but it's also optional. And then for all of us, it's all about progress over perfection. Okay. I'm having trouble. There we go. So the Canvas gradebook. Well, the gradebook itself in Canvas is just a gradebook. It's got columns. You enter scores. We can set up some things on your Canvas gradebook so you can control what you see. You can communicate directly with students using the gradebook around specific assignments, and gradebook syncs directly to Skyward. So we're going to talk about how you can enter grades through Gradebook or Speedgrader. You can view all your students in a course or just by your course sections. You can view all your assignments or just by weekly modules. We can help you hide those unpublished assignments, and then also how do you message students. So we want to just make sure that we talk a bit about that this is part of the district Canvas requirements for grading, that all tasks, assignments start and end in Canvas, and then we synchronize to Skyward. So all your grading, all your assignment reporting starts in Canvas, and then we will sync to Skyward. Okay. So we've got a couple different ways we can view our gradebook, and one is just in the gradebook, the list, which is over here on the left here. We can type directly into these columns, or we can use the Speedgrader, which is kind of nice, and we'll talk more about that, about how we can view the students' work, use some rubrics, and score it directly on our computer screens. Gradebook comes with some color coding. And so if you look at your gradebooks now, you can see that we've got white boxes, we've got blue boxes, we've got orange boxes, and so forth. You can check what these boxes mean by clicking the view button at the top of the gradebook page and go under statuses, and then you can see that if the box is blue, the assignment was turned in late by that student. If it's an orange color, then it hasn't been submitted yet, or it's missing. And then you have some other things too, submitted, dropped, and excused. Of these codes, the only one that actually transfers to Skyward is the excused. So if I wanted to excuse a student over here from doing CAMI assignment number 3, I could actually click that, use the excused code, and that would transfer to Skyward. None of the other codes transfer to Skyward, just so you know. It's kind of you can communicate that through Canvas, but it won't go into Skyward, is what I'm saying. Okay. So, top tip, we want to hide those unpublished assignments because if you see here that I've got all these things in here that I've maybe added or I downloaded from my previous course. It's not really available yet, but it still appears as an assignment in my gradebook. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to unpublish those. So let me get to my course here, and I'll click on grades. A bit slow today. There we go. So here is my account and my students, and I've got this unpublished assignment. So I'm going to click here on view, and I only have to do this once. I'm just going to uncheck this. And as soon as I do, those assignments are gone off my gradebook. They reappear when you publish them. So they will always go back to the gradebook once you publish the assignment, but I don't have to look at them right now. A couple other view changes I'm gonna show you are, if I wanted to see, right now I see all my students and you see all of them, the default view is all students, all class periods. And if I just want to see a certain group of students, then under view, I'm going to go under filters, and I'm going to check this box as sections. Sections in Canvas means class periods. And now I have a new drop-down menu that just popped up. And now I can see that I have period 1. And if I just wanted to see those students, and so forth. Now you will have your course sections. They still are in A, B groupings. A is always the first one on your list. B is the second one on the list if they have the same names. They will have the same names. Another way I like to set up my view too is once this course gets, for the full semester, I've got lots of assignments and it's hard for me to see what I really want to grade. So I can go back to view, filters, and I'm going to click this box, this in front of it called modules. So now, instead of seeing all the assignments for the entire time, I can actually click on here and just see week 1 or week 2 or whatever you're really focusing on scoring that time. And now I have a much more limited view and I really can focus on these 2 assignments. Okay. While we're in here, I was also going to show you where you can message students. So I have, let me get to a different class period that actually has something going on. Okay, so I have this assignment reading, and I noticed that only one of my students has turned it in, and I want to message my students that they should get this turned in. So in the gradebook view, at the top with these 3 dots for this assignment, I'm going to click that, and I can grab this message students who. And when I do that, the default is always message students who haven't submitted yet. And then what Canvas will do, it'll pull all your students who have not submitted this assignment yet. So it does the work in figuring out who the message is going to go to. You can also choose to maybe message your students that I got your assignment, but it hasn't been graded yet and I'm working on it, or these other 2 scored less than, maybe you should redo this, or scored more than, hey, nice job. You can also, you can change this. So I'm going to say, please submit assignment. Whoop. And in here, and I would say you have till Friday. Okay, and obviously I would edit that. If I already spoken to you, student number 2, I don't need to send them this message. I'm just going to click that I'm going to get them off that message, and then I can send that message to them. Okay. So really nice. And so direct messaging, they get it through Canvas, and they know that they haven't done that yet. Do we have any questions?
There was a question, Dana, about once you set it to filter by modules, if that keeps the setting, or if you have to do that every time you open up your gradebook. And once you set that setting, it will default to that until you change it back. So if you like filtering by modules and you set it to do that, you can change it back by unchecking modules. But if you like it, it will keep that setting until you change it. Yeah. And then Dana, can you show us just one more time where to do the message again on a specific assignment?
Sure. So I'll grab this one. So it's at the top of the assignment in Gradebook view. Yeah. And under the 3 dots, there's quite a bit of things you can do here, but then it's also message students who.
Thanks, Dana.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So going through these slides. So this is in the slideshow with directions on how to get to these different views, the modules and the views. There's a third view in there. It's also if you like to if you like the assignment groupings like tests, you can set that up as well. It's in that same area. And then how to message. Oops, lots of arrows and clicking. All right, let's talk about Canvas Speedgrader. So Speedgrader is linked to Speedgrader is linked to Gradebook in Canvas. This is where you can grade assignments that have been submitted through Canvas. I've also used it to grade a stack of papers as well, because they have some tools in there that are quite nice. It's accessible from the Canvas Gradebook and assignments, and I'll show you all the different places you can get to Speedgrader from. And then this syncs directly to the Canvas Gradebook, which then would sync to Skyward. So you can enter scores with the student work in view, which is a real strong point with this view here, the Speedgrader. You can leave a bunch of ways. You can leave feedback, and then you can also have a rubric that you attach to assignment. And I'll show you how that gets attached, but using rubrics and setting up rubrics would be another session. So these are all the different ways you can actually find Speedgrader, but I'm going to take you to my Canvas page and walk you through those. Okay, so if I I'm going to go back to my assignment here. So here's my assignment. It was in a module, and there's this Speedgrader button right here. So this will take me straight to Speedgrader. And this is what Speedgrader looks like. I am going to go back and show you on grades. There's 2 places in grades that you can get to Speedgrader. You can get to Speedgrader at the top of the assignment. So where we were getting how to message students, those 3 dots, here's the Speedgrader button. And then also I can go straight to Speedgrader on a student's assignment. So here is a assignment that a student has submitted. You can tell that by this little icon. That means they turned something in through Canvas. I click on that and I click on this little arrow here. And then here's the information for the student these are some of those codings you can add to their scores, but remember only the excused gets transferred into Skyward. But here's Speedgrader again. I click on that. And now I'm into Speedgrader again. So here is an assignment that was done through Canvas, and here is the student submission. And here is the box that I can use to enter scores. And so I can scan through the students' assignments. I can give feedback. All of these tools right here in this bar right here are tools that you can use to give feedback. You can use little bubbles. So I can put a bubble there, and I can say what happened. This isn't finished, and so forth. Whew. Okay, and that would appear for them. I could highlight, and again, every time one of these tools pops up, you get a comment button. You could type in text. You can actually draw. I could do something like this. So all sorts of things, a way to comment. And then I can put a score in here. Let's say not finished, 2 out of 10. Okay. I can also type a comment in here. So I can type a comment, please finish and resubmit. Okay. I can link something to this. If this was an assignment where it's obvious they completely forgot the lesson that I taught them earlier, how to do this assignment, I could link it here. I could put in a video, and I can also leave a speech message to them as well. Okay. And then this also has this button here that says View Rubric. And if I click View Rubric, then I actually have the ability to, if I have put the rubric in, shoot, where'd it go? Just lost it. Okay, that view I'm not sure about. Let's go back to this one. Okay, so View Rubric. These are clickable. So I can click right on these boxes and click Save, and it will add the value of the rubric right here in the grading too. Rubrics have to be added when you're creating the assignment, but they appear here and are usable and clickable. And this assignment, this number, whatever you type in here or whatever the rubric types in here, goes into the gradebook. Okay. Any questions we can stop for?
None in the chat. Does anyone have a question that they want to unmute themselves and ask? I don't think so.
Okay.
Go on.
So we've gone through these, all that information is in these slides. So I also gave you some ideas about how to provide feedback, all the different ways you can provide the feedback, and then a little bit on the rubrics, so that if that's something you're interested in, we certainly, if this is something you wanted to add, you could definitely contact your coach, and we could support you to do that, and we'll be offering a session soon, I'm sure, when we get through the basics. All right.
Great.
I'll stop sharing, Mara. You up?
Sure. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to go over how to actually sync your grades from Canvas to Skyward. And I know that you all have received an email from the secondary tech coaches letting you know that we missed a very important step in our session last week. So I'm glad you're here. If you haven't done that step yet, I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're just going to do a quick overview of the steps. There's 2 things we need to do in Skyward before we can sync our grades from Canvas to Skyward. The first is we need to set the post to family and student access display option, and that's the step that I missed last week. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then we have to check our Skyward categories, make sure they are perfectly set up before we make any changes in Canvas. So in Skyward, we need to do these 2 steps, and then we can move into Canvas. We're going to create assignment groups, which is what Canvas calls their categories. And those assignment groups in Canvas have to exactly match your Skyward category names. If they do not match, they will not sync. And then on our assignments, we check the box to sync to SIS, and this really sets up the assignment to sync. It does not actually send that assignment from Canvas to Skyward. So some teachers check that box and then don't see those grades in Skyward, because that really is just setting up the assignment to sync. And then to actually sync your grades, we have to click Sync to SIS in our gradebook on Canvas. This was also changed 2 days ago, so exciting things are happening at Canvas. They make these big changes after we trained teachers in one way, but that is, I guess, technology that we just continue to we're just continuing to learn and keep up with technology. But really this change makes it a little bit easier on us because now there's just one option. So we're going to go over each of these steps together in detail. There's just a few FYIs before we start that Canvas talks to Skyward and it is one-way communication. So changes you make in Skyward will not show up in Canvas. However, changes you make in Canvas will show up in Skyward when you sync to post your grades each time that you do that. When you sync your grades from Canvas to Skyward, Canvas creates that assignment in Skyward. So you do not need to go into Skyward and make an assignment in order for Canvas to sync to that assignment. So that is a really nice thing where you create the assignment only in Canvas, you grade it only in Canvas, you sync your grades, and Canvas creates that assignment in Skyward. So it will push the assignment and the grades to Skyward. One thing to note about this is that Canvas overrides any updates in Skyward. So if I sync an assignment today from Canvas to Skyward and I go in and make some changes to those grades in Skyward, but then I resync again tomorrow from Canvas to Skyward, Canvas will override any changes I made to that assignment in Skyward. So if you're going to update or edit any of the student grades, please do that in Canvas so that you don't have to go back and change them again if you make changes in Skyward. So once I started using the Canvas gradebook and syncing to Skyward as a teacher at Terrace, I never used the Skyward gradebook. I would check to make sure that my grades were syncing occasionally. If a student had a question about a grade in Skyward, I might look at that grade in both Canvas and Skyward to make sure it matched, but I did everything in the Canvas gradebook. This is also important if you delete a Skyward assignment if you delete a Skyward assignment, Canvas is still connected to that assignment. So let's say I sync a practice assignment for first period from Canvas to Skyward. I accidentally delete that Skyward assignment. Canvas is still talking to that assignment. So it's still going to be updating the grades to that deleted assignment. It will not create a new assignment in Skyward. The good news is it's really easy to restore deleted assignments in Skyward. So if you ever find that an assignment doesn't show up from Canvas in your Skyward gradebook, there's a chance it's in the deleted folder and we can restore that assignment easily, and that connection still exists between Canvas and Skyward. Okay, any questions, Dana? That's awesome. I'll keep going and then I'll stop and just
yeah, I think we're going to get to Adam's question.
Awesome. Okay, so the first thing we need to do in Skyward is we need to change the Skyward default setting for assignments. So we do this at the beginning of the semester. Once you do it one time at the beginning of the semester, it will update that setting for all of your assignments. However, if you have already synced grades from Canvas to Skyward, we need to go into each of those assignments in Skyward and just check that this setting is there for these assignments. So in order to change the default setting, we click on Display Options in our Skyward Gradebook, and then we click Assignment Display. So you'll have to do this in each of your gradebooks, and unfortunately, your gradebooks are set up in this hybrid model. If we go into hybrid, where you have an A group and a B group, so these steps that you're doing in Skyward, we need to do in all of your Skyward gradebooks. So for first period, you have to do it for the A gradebook and the B gradebook. Please do that, because that's been the biggest problem that teachers are having syncing, is that when they click to use default categories in Skyward, it's not actually defaulting those categories to all of their gradebooks. It's only defaulting them to the A groups or the B groups. So we just need to check that these steps are set up in every Skyward gradebook that you have right now. So we click on Display Options, and then we click Assignment Display. And then this is what we'll see is this assignment display box, and we're looking for assignment defaults. And we just want to make sure that the post to family access default and the post to student access default is is set to yes. So in that drop-down menu, we just want both of these boxes to say yes. And what this will do is it will make sure that a student's gradebook in Skyward is visible to both student access and family access in Skyward. If we don't set these to yes, then our assignments will not be visible in the student gradebook or the family gradebook. And if we don't check assignments that we've already synced, those individual assignments won't be visible in the gradebook. So we do need to check all of our gradebooks for this. And if you've already synced grades, please check those assignments that you've already synced to make sure that they're set to default to yes. And then we click save. So that's the first step for our Skyward gradebooks. And again, we only have to do this once at the beginning of the semester. It feels like a lot of steps, but once you have it set up, then you're good to go for the whole semester. The second thing we need to do in Skyward is we need to check our Skyward categories. If you use categories and if you use weighted categories, we just need to check that our categories match for all of our classes and they're set how we want them to be set. When you create your categories in Skyward, there is this huge list of categories that you can choose from. We really recommend limiting the amount of categories to just what you need and removing any categories that are selected that you are not using. When a student opens up their gradebook in Skyward or in the family access on Skyward, they will see every category listed whether or not you're using those categories. So please just check the categories that you're using, and then you just want to make sure that all of your different sections of gradebooks have the categories that you want.
So there is a question about, can we still use the abbreviations or do we have to type in the full name?
That is a great question. You can still use the abbreviation. I think the advantage of typing in the full name is that we are assuming students are going to be looking at their Canvas gradebook more often now than their Skyward gradebook. And if they're looking at their Canvas gradebook and they're trying to figure out what category an assignment is in, if they know what the abbreviation means, then it's not a problem. If they don't know what the abbreviation means, they're not going to know what that category is. So from the student perspective and the family perspective on Canvas, it would be nice to use the full name just so that they know what the category is. But if you have your gradebooks already set up with the abbreviation, there was nothing in the MOU that stated you must use the full name of that category. So that's a great question. And what that's referring to is in this category list screenshot right here, I can use ACA in Canvas, or I can type out academic achievement. And either one of those will sync to Skyward. They just have to match exactly either the category or the category description. Good question. Okay. So when you create your categories in one class, we're looking for that category abbreviation or the category description. And then we also need to note the percentages. So if you're using weighted categories, we need to make a note of the name and the percentages or the weights of each of those categories. This is where if you click this button, use these categories for my other classes, some teachers are finding that even if they select all of their other grade books, it's not actually using the category for the A groups or for the B groups, for both groups. It's just kind of picking and choosing one or the other. And this has to do with the Skyward settings. And so we just want to make sure that you are checking that all of your Skyward grade books have the correct categories. Okay. So we're done with the Skyward steps. We've set the default settings so that it's visible on the student gradebook and the family access on Skyward. And then we checked our categories. So now we're actually going to create our Canvas assignment groups. So Canvas calls your categories assignment groups, and they're located under assignments in your navigation bar. When you open up assignments in your course navigation bar, there will be some default assignments there that Canvas creates. So some of the default assignment groups are assignments, discussions, quizzes, imported assignments. So you may see these default groups here. And what we can do is we can either edit the names of the categories that are already there, or we can add more categories that will match our Skyward categories. I would recommend editing the names of the ones that are already there, especially assignments, discussions, and quizzes. But if you edit imported assignments, any time in the future, if you import any content into this course from the Commons or from another class, Canvas is going to recreate that imported assignments category. So you might just leave that last one to just stay there, and then you can just not have any assignments that are published and syncing to Skyward inside that category. So I'm going to show you what this looks like inside an actual Canvas course. So I'm inside of my course, and I'm going to click on Assignments in the navigation bar. Once you open up Assignments, you'll see all of the assignment groups, which are your categories, inside your Canvas course. And then you'll also see any assignments you've already created listed in those categories. So if you're creating your categories for the first time now, we're going to create the categories, and then we're going to drag our assignments into the correct category so that they are syncing to the right category in Skyward. So to edit an assignment group that's already there, I can click the 3 dots to the right of the name, and it's that gray bar at the top, and then I click Edit. And this is where I can change the name of that category. So I might call this just Assignments. And then I'm going to click Save. And that will edit that, or that will change that category name in Canvas. I can scroll down, and this is a coaching course, so I have a ton of stuff in here. Your courses right now obviously are not going to have this much stuff in one category. But if I scroll down, I can look at my other categories, and I can click those 3 dots and edit the name to match my Canvas or my Skyward category. If I want to just add a new category instead of editing the names, I can click that plus group button in the upper right corner. And plus group will allow me to create a new assignment group. Assignment groups is what Canvas is calling categories. So I might call this participation. And then I'm going to click Save. Once I have my Skyward categories created inside my Canvas course, I can then drag and drop any assignments I've already created into the correct category. So if I go down to test project quizzes, and really this rubric test assignment was an assessment, it wasn't a test project quiz, I can grab it, I can click on it, and I can drag it. Oops, I need to click on those dots at the very beginning of the name. I can click on those dots and I can drag it down into assessment. And so now this assignment lives under my assessment category. So this is mostly for assignments you already have in your course that you want to move into a different category.
Mara, really
go ahead,
quickly, if you want to move them as well and you have a million assignments like you do, and dragging it is not the best option, the 3 dots on the right of each assignment, you can say move to, and then it will tell you wherever you want to move it.
Thank you, Adam. So you can move it to discussions and click move. Perfect. That's way easier if you have a ton of assignments.
Yeah, you want to pay attention to the category about where it's going to move to when you use those dots. Yeah.
Okay, so if you use weighted categories, we also need to set the weights for our category. And that button is hidden in Canvas, which is annoying. But if you click on the 3 dots in the upper right corner next to plus group plus assignment, there is an option for assignment groups weight. And this is where we actually set our weighting, our percentages for our categories. So I'm going to check that box. The very first thing that you have to do when you get this pop-up window is you have to check the box to say weight final grade based on assignment groups. Once you check this box, you will see all of your categories listed, and you can then give them the correct percentage that matches in Skyward. If you have categories here that you don't want to weight because they're just there and you don't want to mess with them, you can always just assign them 0%, and that is fine. You just want to make sure that the categories you're using in Skyward equal 100. Once you have those set, you can click Save. And you'll actually see the percentages next to the category title once this loads. So I can see that assignments now, if I go to the far right of that title, is 20% of total, test project quiz is 40% of total, etc. Okay, so once you've created your assignment groups in Canvas and they match Skyward and you've moved assignments that you've already created here, going forward you can assign any new assignment, quiz, or discussion that you create in Canvas to the correct category. So I'm going to show you how you do that by just creating an assignment, and I'll show you where the categories are. So I'm going to go to modules and I'm going to add a new assignment. Is there any questions while I get this set up, Dana?
Yeah, there is. There was a question about whether or not do you have to have your percentages, your weight percentages, do you have to set those both up in Canvas and Skyward, or will they transfer?
You want them set up in both Canvas and Skyward, because if students are looking at their grades in Canvas, you want that to be the same as what they would see in Skyward. So if you don't have them weighted in Canvas and they look at grades, it's not going to be an accurate view of their grades. So we just encourage you to set them up exactly the same so that they sync correctly and it's as close of a reflection as the same grade in both places. Okay, so here's a test assignment. I'm going to scroll down and zoom in a little bit. For assignments, quizzes, or discussions, you always have these same assignment settings right here. So I can decide how many points this assignment is worth. And then I get my assignment groups here. So assignment groups are categories. And so I can click the drop down here and I can assign this assignment as a test project or quiz. And that will automatically go into that category under my assignments tab, and also when I sync that to Skyward. So this makes it really nice because then you're not limited to using a Canvas quiz as a quiz. You can create a Canvas quiz and assign it as participation and just use the features of Canvas quizzes to create that activity. So you can assign anything that you create under the category that you want using this assignment group dropdown. Okay, so now we're going to talk about actually syncing from Canvas to Skyward. So we've created our categories. They match perfectly to Skyward. And now what we're going to do is sync to Skyward. So when let me go back into this test assignment. When I'm creating an assignment, one of the options that I have towards the bottom is sync to SIS. So here's an assignment setting. You'll see this setting on assignments, discussions, or quizzes that you create in Canvas. And you want to check this box if you want this assignment to be set up to sync to Skyward. So the first step to get it to sync is to check the box sync to SIS. And then I'm going to scroll down and click save. If you're not sure if an assignment is set up to sync to Skyward, you can click on the assignments link in your navigation bar to go back to that assignment list. Oops, I'm gonna actually zoom in a little bit. Sorry about that. So I can look at these assignments, and if I look on the far right-hand side to the left of my publish button, I can see this green check mark with the arrows. This assignment, I checked the box to sync to SIS. So this assignment is ready to sync to Skyward. If it has a black X with the arrows, it is not ready to sync to Skyward. I can just check that, and now this assignment is ready to sync to Skyward. So you can double check if your assignments, if you check that box to sync to SIS by clicking on assignments and looking for these icons.
Laura, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so you went really, really fast on that last screen, and you bypassed the drop down that had to do with points versus percentage.
Oh,
and this is something that's happened to me multiple times already, where I've had to go back into Skyward and change everything from points to percentage because they sync not the way I actually grade in Skyward. So, you know what I'm saying? So like if you have it go as points, well, actually I've had experience where it's not working even when I do set it correctly to percentage. It still posts as points in Skyward, and then I have to go in and change it in Skyward. But if you have it as points and you send it to a Skyward assignment that is percentages, it doesn't seem to translate. So
it's going to default to points. We recommend leaving it as points, setting up your Skyward categories to be, if you have weighted categories that have percentages, that's really where you're going to set things to be percentages. Lynn, you should not have to, you are not creating an assignment in Skyward first.
Right.
Because what Canvas is going to do is it's going to take this assignment you've created and push it to Skyward. So it will make that assignment for you in Skyward.
Right.
And so are you wanting each assignment to be worth percentages instead
Yes.
of points?
Yes, always. Always.
Oh, I've never heard of a teacher doing that. Huh. Is that something you've always done?
Yeah. Everything is so, like, if it's 10 points,
Yeah.
if they get 10 correct, it's 100%. And I've always done my grades that way. And I think a lot of people do, but maybe I'm wrong. But I look into,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. We might have to circle back about that with you specifically, Lynn, because I don't know. I've never heard of other teachers using it as like setting this as instead of points as percentages, because really when they set it as points and a student gets 9 out of 10, their grades are collective points, but then each category is worth a certain percentage. So it's weighting the percentages. But can you stick around for a few minutes at the end of this session and we can look at that?
I have an 11 o'clock, but
okay.
I can drop in somewhere, I guess, and ask
yeah,
later.
like office hours. What school do you work at, Lynn?
Edmonds Woodway.
Okay. Do you want to come? I can send you, if you send me a quick email right now as a reminder, I can send you my office hours link for tomorrow morning and we could look at that if that works for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so we can check, let's see, we were on assignments and we were checking the sync to SIS. So we're checking if assignments are set up to sync or not by checking that black X. Let's just look at that one more time. So the black X means this assignment is not ready to sync, but the green check mark means that it's ready to sync. So once we're ready to actually push our grades from Canvas to Skyward, we're going to click on the grades icon. The grades link in our navigation bar. And as Dana mentioned earlier, this takes us to our actual gradebook in Canvas. So we're going to open up our gradebook and then we're going to click on actions. So at the top of your gradebook, you have the view, you have gradebook view, and then actions. We're going to click on actions. And this is something that's changed recently. As of like 2 days ago, we had 2 options. We could post to sync grades, which is what it's always been. And then they added sync to SIS. So for a couple days, actually for like a couple weeks, we had 2 options. And now Canvas removed the sync to post grades because that was the dated version, and sync to SIS is the new version. So this is the upgraded version. So now you only have the option to sync to SIS, and you're going to click sync to SIS. This will pull up this sync grades window. And because this is a fake course, I don't actually have a Skyward course that's synced to this, but your view will look very similar, where it will pull up the assignments that are ready to sync, and it will let you know if there's an assignment that cannot sync. So if I look at these ones, these are grayed out because there's something wrong with them. It lets me know at the top that assignments without due dates or duplicate assignments cannot be passed. So if your assignment does not have a due date, it cannot be synced to Skyward. So you want to check those assignments that are grayed out at the bottom to make sure that they have a due date, or to check that they're not duplicates on accident in your Canvas gradebook. Once the assignments are ready, I can click post grades. And this won't actually work for me because I don't have a gradebook, but I can show you what this looks like. Once you actually click post grades, once you actually click sync to SIS and then you click post grades, this is a horrible screenshot. So if someone else has a better screenshot, that would be awesome. I can use it. Once you click that, it's going to show you the status of your grades. So it'll show you when it was started to sync, it will show you the stage, it will show you the status, and it will tell you how many assignments. What we are finding is that this is taking much longer than the old way when it said post to sync grades instead of sync to SIS. A teacher at Terrace who does this regularly said that it took what usually took like, I don't know, a minute or 2, took an hour for those grades to show up in Skyward. So know that is what's happening. We have put in a help ticket with Canvas to see if if there's something on our end that's happening or if it's something on their end to fix this so that it's faster. But right now it is taking longer than it was before. We recommend that you sync your grades as often as you are grading. According to your contract, you have to make sure your Skyward Gradebook is up to date every 2 weeks. We recommend that after you sit down to grade in Canvas, you sync to SIS. I would do it almost every time I graded anything in Canvas, because the more often you do it, the less time it will take, because there's less things to update. If you wait until the end of the semester and you are trying to post a bunch of things the day or two before the grading period ends, it could take longer than the time you have left. So you just want to sync often to Skyward from Canvas. You can always check if those assignments have synced by opening up your Skyward Gradebook. I would usually tell students when I update a grade in Canvas that I would tell them I just posted it. It'll be there in the next few hours. Please let me know if you don't see it. And that always seemed to be enough for them that it would show up quickly. I also think students are going to be checking their Canvas Gradebook much more than their Skyward Gradebook now, because they will get alerted instantly when you grade something. So they can set their notifications for graded assignments. They can also send those notifications to their cell phone. So they'll get a push notification on their phone as soon as something is graded. So I always found that interesting, where I would grade an assignment at 9 o'clock at night and a student would email me right away asking me why they got that grade. So just know that they have the power to check their any graded assignments right away. Adam, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, real quick. I mean, I guess it might be kind of relevant. I'm grading an assignment in Speedgrader right now for my AP students.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I put the grade on there, I have this little message underneath the grade in Speedgrader that says hidden.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that means the grade is hidden from the students, but I don't know how or why or where that came from. And I couldn't figure out in settings. There's literally no button for it.
Okay, will you hold that thought for just a second and we'll come back to it?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, I think this is what I just told you. Yes, Skyward, syncing is not always instantaneous. Please sync as often as you can. According to your contract, it's every 2 weeks that your Skyward Gradebook needs to be up to date. Okay, there is I would say every semester there's maybe three to five teachers across the district where they sync their grades from Canvas to Skyward, and that assignment says that it's synced perfectly and it doesn't show up in their Skyward Gradebook. There is a glitch in the system which maybe will be fixed by this new sync to SIS. But there's a glitch in the system where every once in a while a teacher's assignments will go into their deleted folder in Skyward instead of into their regular gradebook in Skyward. And it happens so infrequently that every time it happens, we put in a help ticket and Canvas says, we can't reproduce this situation in order to figure out what the glitch is. So if you sync your grades from Canvas to Skyward, it says everything posted and synced correctly, and you don't see that assignment in your Skyward Gradebook, we can restore that assignment. So we have on the staff resource site for Canvas, there are directions on how to restore a deleted assignment. You open up the gradebook, you click display options, and there's an option to restore deleted assignments. When you look at your deleted assignments, it will show you every assignment that's been deleted in that gradebook. We can find the one that's syncing to Skyward, and we can restore that assignment. What you don't want to do is go into Skyward, create an assignment, hoping that Canvas will sync to that new assignment you created. We just need to restore the deleted assignments because Canvas is still communicating with that same assignment. It's not worth actually learning how to delete your assignments right now and trying to retain that information, because we can just point you in the direction of these directions if it happens to you. But know that if something is deleted in Skyward, it's very, very easy to restore that assignment. Okay, I think, one other thing I wanted to mention is that on Canvas, the student view of grades does not look like a grade book. So it looks very different than what you see when you click on grades. So I'm just gonna show you what this looks like. Here's a student that's enrolled in my fake course. When that student clicks on grades, at the top, they can choose the course that they want to look at. and then they can arrange those assignments by a couple different ways. And then they will just see a list of the assignment with a link directly to the assignment. They will see their score, if it's been scored, and they'll see the total. So here's an example of this student has turned in this work, this assignment, but the teacher hasn't scored it yet. They can see the total. If the teacher leaves any feedback on that assignment, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see this better. If the teacher leaves feedback on an assignment, like in the teacher comments, they can click on that and they can see the comment from the teacher. They can also see if there was a rubric attached to that assignment. They can open the rubric and see how they were scored on that specific rubric. So this is how students actually see your feedback and their grades. That's why it's important that grades is visible in the navigation bar so that they're actually able to see those comments. They also get a notification if an assignment is late or if it's missing as well. And those are for assignments that have due dates. So this is actually a really nice feature for students to be able to track their grades in Canvas. And if we go to the top on the right-hand side, this is where those category weights are important, because if I set my category weights in Canvas, students will see their grade according to each category that's weighted and their total too. So students also have the ability to test like what if grades. So if they have a final exam coming up and the teacher has put that exam here, but the student hasn't completed it yet, they can test what if I got a 5 on this instead of a 0, how that would actually change my grade. So they can do some pretty intense math if they want to guess a better grade. Okay, let's see. I think that's all that we have. If you are looking for that staff resource site, which is the Google site that we maintain and update constantly, you can click on the help button in your Canvas account, and it's the Canvas teacher resources, and that is where we update everything about Canvas assignments, everything that you could ever want to know and more. And the reason that we have our own Google site is because there are hundreds of institutions and universities and K-12 schools using Canvas. If you Google it, you're going to find a million results for your question. And we just want to make sure that you have resources that look exactly like what you will see in our Canvas domain and not just in Canvas in general. Okay, let's see. Any questions? Hi, Nicole. Yeah.
Hi. Okay, so I have one question.
Yeah.
How can we see it the way they see it?
Oh, Nicole, there's not a good way to do that because your test student in your Canvas classes is not a super accurate test student. If I go into this course, let me get to the student view. If I click on student view from home on the right hand side, you have a button for student view. If I click on that and I click on grades, what do I see? Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good actually.
That is good. That's helpful. I just want to see what it looks like for them.
Yeah.
From their point of view, that's always very helpful. And I want to be able to show them too and be able to help them work through it. So.
Yeah, and Nicole, that's test students should show up in Speedgrader on any assignment. If you give them comments and like just test it out, then that should show up, because I've given this test student grades before, but I've just never left them comments. So,
okay, cool.
Thanks,
Thank
Nicole.
you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions before we circle back to Adams?
Well, I posted the link to recordings because that was a request.
Oh, okay.
So
awesome.
Where we find this, it may take a while for this video to get there.
Yeah, we're going to post just this one because this is the best one so far with the most accurate information. So I'll try to get it up by this afternoon.
Yeah. And then I reposted the presentation and the, did I get the session?
The registration?
Yeah, registration form is in there.
Okay, awesome. Karina, did you have a question?
I did. So when you were going over weights and what students could see in that side, so there's some of those that have a 0 weight. If we haven't published those modules, so like say we haven't published our quizzes yet, but it holds like a weight of 10%. Are they still going to see that? Are they going to see all the ones we've assigned a 0% weight? Because that could be really
Yes, good question. So they will see all the different assignment groups that you have currently. So if there's assignment groups like participation, if I'm not actually using this, I should probably go into assignment groups and delete it. If it's worth 0%, like imported assignments is worth 0%, it's not going to affect their grade at all if there's an assignment in there. But if there's an assignment that's not published, they won't see that either. So I guess it's really two things. We've hidden assignments in navigation bar because we don't want students going through assignments to try to find stuff. We want them going in one direction in modules. If I have an imported assignments category, because I import content often, it will show up for students here as an assignment group. I just want to make sure that it's 0%, so it's not relevant to them, but I can't hide it here. It's going to be listed here because it's an assignment group. In assignments, let me get out of student view and show you. If I've created an assignment and it's in the quizzes category, but I haven't published it yet, it will not be visible to students and it will not be affecting their grade at all because it hasn't been published and I haven't graded it yet. So it's essentially not part of that category yet because it's not published or graded. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question, Karina? Okay. Okay, any other questions before we circle back? Because I'm gonna have to investigate a little bit on that one, Adam. I'm not sure why it's hidden.
No problem.
Okay. Okay, feel free to stick around for Adam's question, but if not, you are free to head out. We ended 3 minutes early, which is pretty good. And then if you have follow-up questions, please reach out to your tech coaches. And also if there are sessions that you want to see, please let us know because I think rubrics is a big one. There is a discussion session on Friday from 2:30 to 3 if you want to come to that. But yeah, we'd love to know what you want. So
We had a request.